And that was a summary of some business tidbits across the world. Let's start over the very first story. Ghana Union of Traders Association GUTA has described the arrest of 15 retail traders by the Accra Central Police as unbearable. The arrests follow the closure of some Nigerian retail shops in the Central Business District of Accra earlier in the day. Addressing the media, President of GUTA warned manhandling of Ghanaian retail traders could spark tension across the country. Charles Aite was there and now reports.
Solidarity message was given by the Ghana Electrical Dealers Association to suggest to the fact that these miscreants do not have any right to stay with us, and that they are abusing the ECOWAS protocol itself, and that they are even abusing the immigration laws of this country. Let me remind you, take this opportunity to remind you that a couple of days ago, the Nigerian government repatriated 4 Ghanaians on the basis that they have infractions on their immigration laws. What does that tell us? It means that, doesn't mean that we don't know what we are doing as a nation, or we are just too timid on enforcing on our laws. That we have to stay, that now about 7 million migrants from one particular country have come into our country, enjoying their children, enjoying the free education and all that. We are the citizens of this country, and we have the right to protest against something that is not fair. We are not being xenophobia. We are just doing what is right and making sure that the force, the implementers or the policy makers do the right thing for us. And this is what the Ghana Electrical Dealers Association were doing in support of the Kumasi people, and then told the miscreants who do not belong, who are abusing the laws of the nation, who are not abiding by the laws of the nation, that they are not wanted in their midst. Because the law enforcers could not do it. The authorities that are appointed to do this are looking on, unconcerned. Our business is not to enforce laws. Our business is to go to the market and trade and to get something for our people. In this case, we are being forced to do what the authorities have to do. This association reminded the unwanted lot in our midst that those who are qualified are to stay and do their work peacefully, but those who are not qualified are not to open their shops. And this is the crime for the police to unleash violence and arrest on our members, to the extent that most of the people, the executives who were arrested, were beaten with the butt of the gun at their forehead, their neck, and their ribs. Let me ask the police, what were they able to do, even to identify those who kidnap our girls? So if you call the effectiveness of the police is on arresting trade leaders, it's a shame. We saw the kidnappers of the Canadians, and we saw that they did not even slap any of them or hurt any of them. And of course, it's civil, because until proven guilty, even at guilt, the worst is to take you to the prison. But nobody has the right to beat any civilian for unprovoked. We call on the IGP to call for forensic investigation into this, and that we are not going to let this die a natural death. And let's take advantage to tell IGP again to call his people to order. Because what it suggests, therefore, is that they are being influenced. Because if you are not influenced into doing anything, you will not be biased. You will call the people and ask, seek to know what is happening.
All right, so that was President of Guta earlier in the day addressing the press on the situation that happened this afternoon when some of its executives have been arrested by police. Our man Charles Aite is at the headquarters of Guta right now, reaching out to him for some updates. Now, Charles, so what exactly can you tell us?
All right, so I was at the head office of Guta not long ago, where they briefed the media on all the situation that has happened so far. Currently, all the executives and retail traders of Guta have been released by the Accra Central Police, and we have here two executives of the co-chair of the spare parts, Abosokai spare part dealers, who was also part of those who were arrested, as well as the welfare chair of Guta, to help us understand what exactly happened. So many thanks for your time, Mr. Boateng. First of all, what exactly happened? Was this a matter related to the Ghana-Nigeria retail feud?
Well, I would say it's a spillover of that issue, because we are all in this country, and we know what has been happening for the past 2 weeks with regards to this retail foreigners in the retail trade issue. So Guta, had to convene an emergency national executive, meeting, to discuss the issues and see the way forward. And if you could recall, yesterday there was a press conference which was organized by the Ghana Electrical Dealers Association. So in the course of our meeting, we had a message that two of executive leaders of Ghana Electrical Dealers Association, have been arrested. Okay. Yeah, so we took it upon ourselves, to go there and ascertain what is really happening. So we also had a letter from Council of States, to meet them. So we had to divide, ourselves into two. Some part went to meet the Council of Elders, whilst some part also went to the police station to ascertain what was happening. And I was part of the delegation, that went to the police station. So as soon as we entered the premises of the central, police station, some of our colleagues just chanted Choboi. And after chanting the Choboi, those policemen around said that is not the place, to say that word.
So to some extent, the police had to intervene because they felt you were inciting tensions in that regard. But I will come back to you. Mr. Yeboah, you are the welfare chair of Guta.
Exactly.
What exactly happened? Were you part of those who were arrested?
Yeah, thank you. I was part of those who were at the place. I wasn't arrested though.
Okay.
It was when I saw that the policemen were beating up our members. And I saw that my brother was even trying to intervene to tell them that, look, they are harmless, they are not holding any weapon, they are not inciting anyone, because we were just numbering about 18 or 20 there. So who were they inciting? So I climbed up to see if I could get some of the police hierarchy there to report to them to see what was going on, which was really, really a sad spectacle.
We must make it clear that we have tried all our best to get in touch with the Accra Central Regional Police. They are saying that they're going to be speaking to us shortly, so we're just holding on to that particular message from them. But in the meantime, you are the co-chair for the Abosokai spare part dealers. Yes. A while ago, you came out with an ultimatum, a 2-week ultimatum or so, regarding the so-called influx of Nigerian retail traders in your space. How far with this ultimatum?
Well, as you rightly said, this is a fight that we started close to about 20 years ago. And you see, they always get us wrong. We are not saying that we don't want foreigners in our midst. There are a lot of foreigners who are doing their business legitimately, and we haven't said anything about that. What we are calling the authorities to do is to enforce the GIPC law, which debars foreigners from doing retail trade in the market. In the market, the emphasis is on the market. You see, if you are doing your business legitimately outside the market, we don't have any qualms with you. But once the marketplace does not allow, foreigners to do retail trade, we are just calling on the authorities to just enforce that section of the act.
And the authorities are also saying this is a matter of diplomacy. We have retail traders elsewhere, we have Ghanaians elsewhere, they tell us. Without diplomacy, things could get out of hand.
My brother,
don't you think this is a very sound argument?
My brother, how long can we continue with these diplomacy talks? Like I told you, we've started this fight almost about 20 years ago. And during the time of Hannah Tete, when Hannah Tete was the trade minister, and there was this agitations, from Guta, there was a delegation from Nigeria comprising the Minister of Trade as well as, I think, the Foreign Minister. Yes, they came to see Hannah Tete with the Guta leadership. And after deliberations, they said they are going to the ECOWAS court, to test the law there. Okay. And when they went to ECOWAS court, they lost the case.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Rafi, you did hear that there. In the meantime, though, our main focus now was to hear the side of the Accra Central Police, of course, who picked up these members of Guta and other, retail traders as well. But of course, it does tend to mean that the tensions could be high, and there's much the need for there to be some sense of negotiations between Guta and that of authorities.
Many thanks for that incisive report, Charles IT, reaching us live from the headquarters of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, where earlier a press conference was addressed by the president of Guta with regards to some arrests made by the police with regards to the controversy raging on the foreign retail markets in Accra and across the country. Let's turn our attention to other stories on Business Live. The government has begun engaging donor partners to secure a $230 million funding for the deployment of mini-grid renewable energy systems for some 55 communities which cannot easily access the national grid. The move is part of measures by government to meet the deadline for the universal access to electricity by 2020. Deputy Minister of Energy, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, disclosed to newsmen at the ongoing mini-grid Action Learning Summit in Accra.
At the end of 2018, national electricity access reached 84.32%, with 93% in urban areas and 71% rural coverage. It is in view of this that the mini-grids and standalone renewable solutions have been developed to complement the national grid extension and intensification. Deputy Minister of Energy, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, said Ghana is making strides to move from the 85% access to electricity to 100% through the use of renewable sources.
Constructed and operationalized 5 mini-grids, the Pedia Tokope mini-grid facility. And this is just about 80 kilometers east of Accra. But apart from that, we've also developed some microgrid systems, about 26 microgrid systems. And I was with the minister to commission some of these facilities in the northern region, the Damongo area, for example. Then from next year, we will also deploy some 55 new mini grids in many districts of our country, Sene East, Karachi East and West, Pro District, Nkwanta North and South, Gonja Central East and West, then Karachi and Chumuru districts of Ghana. And this is going to be funded through a $230 million facility.
Senior energy specialist at the World Bank, David Villafring-Bach, noted that the World Bank has given government some technical support to develop its energy mix.
A project, GDAP, that with a budget of 275 million, that connected 350,000 households in Ghana to the grid, and also financed the 5 mini-grids, this pilot mini-grids. So this is something that has happened in the last 5-10 years, and the idea is to now to continue supporting the government on their quest to achieve universal access. One is through technical assistance. There is now a 20 million loan for technical assistance to support the studies and understanding the investment needs for achieving this last mile. And we are also looking at the potential new operation whenever the government has clearly decided on the strategy to reach this last mile, to provide financing and support towards this objective.
The summit is being co-hosted by Ghana and the World Bank. Ibn Sabote's report.
Well, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, says it is exploring collaboration with Office of Special Prosecutor as well as the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, for prosecution of officials who misuse petroleum revenues. The committee will soon sign a memorandum of understanding with two prosecutorial bodies as part of measures to prevent wanton embezzlement and criminal abuse. PIAC has already signed a similar agreement with the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO. Chairman of PIAC, Dr. Steve Mantiao, says it will ensure effective implementation of the recommendations contained in the committee's reports. Prince Appiah reports.
The MOU will enable the partners to work towards safeguarding the country's petroleum revenues from criminal abuse as well as combat economic and organized crimes relating to management and use of funds. It will also ensure efficient, transparent and accountable management of the revenue to support national infrastructure development and welfare of people. Chairman of PIAC, Dr. Steve Mantia, revealed this when he spoke to Love Business at the launch of the 2018 PIAC annual report in Kumasi.
Now, this has also meant that over the period, even though we have abundance of transparency, this country has not been able to make that critical transition from transparency to accountability, because we make recommendations that are not acted upon, and that for me has become a source of worry to PIAC. Now, going forward, PIAC has taken the decision to enter into various forms of agreements with those institutions of state that are clothed with the power to actually act and to bring to bear accountability in terms of the management of public resources. So to this end, we've signed a memorandum of understanding with the YOCO, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, to the extent that we'll be referring some of the cases, especially those ones that border on economic crime, to YOCO for further investigation and possible prosecution. We are planning to enter into similar agreements with the Special Prosecution Office and also with SHRAJ, because some of the issues also border on administrative justice, and so on those accounts we will refer those issues to SHRAJ for further investigation and necessary action.
Meanwhile, a former regional chairman of the National Peace Council for Ashanti is advocating a body like PIAC for the mining sector. Professor Opuni Esiama believes it will bring sanity into the use of mining revenues.
Obuasi, Pristia, Takwa, Konongo, Bibieni. There's nothing to write home about in terms of development in such areas. But we have mined gold in those areas for such a long time. All because we don't have a group like PIAC that is keeping people on their toes to tell us how the money, how they are using the money, and whether they are using the money in the right way. I think that government should be encouraged to set up a PIAC for the mining sector.
Meanwhile, in 2018, government spent 51% of the petroleum revenue on recurrent expenditure and the rest on capital expenditure. Prince Appiah reporting.
Now, snail rearing is an aspect of agriculture that have often been relegated to the background. However, the economic potential associated with the venture cannot be overemphasized. In this report, Fred Duho travels to the farming community in Agotimebe and engages with Vosbet Azuma, a snail farmer.
Vosbet Azuma is a 27-year-old graduate from the University of Cape Coast. He decided to go into snail farming after saving his national service allowance over the period of service. Vosbet, who refused to be overcome by several challenges, decided to study the rearing of snails through the internet. Currently, Vosbet believes there is much untapped potential in snail farming, taking into consideration the nutritional and economic values.
The snail business is a new gold of Ghana, in the sense that it is hugely untapped, and there's a lot of opportunities in this sector. Government has not paid attention to the sector, and other private entities has not paid attention to the sector. And mostly, snail, we prefer picking them from the forest, and it means that the meat is becoming a season meat only in the rainy season. Then in the dry season, you don't get those snail meat to eat. You have to wait during the rainy season. So as a company that is into breeding, it means that we can produce all year round and if people want it, we can actually service them. So what I can say is that there are numerous opportunities in the snail value chain, either into those into production, those who are into processing, whether marketing, or those who are into consultancy, or those who are into training, or those who are into formulation of snail feed. So we'll encourage the government, if really we want to fight food insecurity, we want to fight youth unemployment, and also the exodus of youth to cities searching for jobs. If really want to resolve these issues, then the government must sit up and engage the youth to engage in these viable businesses that can bring about jobs.
Vosbet is currently challenged by meeting the demands of its customers across the country.
We have been in this business, and we have been producing or servicing the market with our frozen products. And looking at so far what we have done or achieved, we have realized that most of our customers are coming from Accra, Tema, Kumasi, and also other parts of the country. Within Ho, for instance, our customer base is not that much, or the demands within Ho is not that much. So it makes delivery to these Accra and Ho, the cities that I mentioned, quite cumbersome for us as a company. That's why we have delivery vans to send those products there. But mostly what they ask for is 2 packs, 5 packs, 10 packs per person. And it is our duty to also get a distributor in Accra that can engage in the wholesale business. So we send products in bulk at a wholesale price, which I said earlier that is 17 cedis per pack, and at a retail price is 20 cedis.
So far, he has encouraged several youth to take advantage of social media to champion a business cause. This, according to him, provides free platform for marketing and vast opportunities.
Me myself personally, I'm a good social media. I say I'm good in social media, or if they say digital marketing, very good at that. Very active on Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, all sort of media, online media, so platforms. I have a blog, so people visit my site. I always do speak about the importance of eating snails, the nutritional value of them, of which. In terms of the protein wise is quite high, and also low fat content as compared to other meats that we prefer, like chicken, pork, and co. So the marketing wise, I take advantage of this free platform.
Fred Ho's report for Joy Business, Agoti Meziope, District, Bay.
And that will be it for Business Live tonight. Many thanks for your company. But for more business, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Make a date on at 7 p.m. with Sandra Isinamapenu for more on the latest aspects of business. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We are Have a good day.